good morning. Good morning, and welcome to the Morning Report. My name is Willie Lawson. The Morning Report is a production of fightbackmedia.com, 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 and fightbackmediatv.com. We trust that you are well this glorious day. It says, the computer says it's 68. I was just outside. It's like 72, 74. It's gorgeous out there. Bright blues, bright blue skies, fluffy clouds, if there are any at all. Wispy, I guess, would be a better word, and the sun is shining, and it feels good on your skin meat. It just does. So if you are in the Central Florida area, West Central Florida area, get out there and enjoy yourself some vitamin D. There's plenty of it, plenty of it, plenty of it. So go ahead and enjoy some of your vitamin D out there, and enjoy some of that nice clean Florida air. People ask me, how do you do a podcast every day? Well, they give us material every day. They do. They give us something to talk about every day. They give us things to bring you every day. Geraldo talking about AR-15s. This is really kind of funny. They're still talking about COVID numbers. They're still talking about Republicans are now in control in the House of Representatives, and now they're doing the tit for tat, investigating everything. But what we knew was that it wasn't like all these inside organizations, all these inside entities were going to fully cooperate with the Republicans, and they are not. We'll talk about that too. I sort of kind of expected it, right? The DOJ is still fighting for wearing masks on public transportation. Now, why the DOJ? You're going to find out. Again, my name is Willie Lawson. This is the Morning Report. The Morning Report is a production of fightbackmedia.com, 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 and fightbackmediatv.com. We'll be back right after these messages. So is it okay now, because it was, during the Trump administration, it is okay to talk about the president's
yeah. We talked about mental health elderly, so let's talk about this guy's mental health.
The president's mental acuity, because there's sometimes where it seems to be lacking. Have you seen?
Sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes it's especially bad. I'm talking about sometimes it's like really bad. Like, have you seen the picture?
I was told not to take any questions.
I was told not to take any questions. They're going to be mad at me.
They're going to be mad at me.
Mr.
President, are you the president, or were you five?
You see, what I want. See, the next question is, excuse me, Mr. President.
I was told to call on what you call it for NBC. Who's telling you to call on?
That's the question that we ought to be asking. Who's telling you this?
I don't understand why nobody won't ask that question.
Is Jen Psaki actually the president?
Who's telling you to call on these people in the media?
Is Jen Psaki actually the president?
Probably so.
Alrighty. Now, I don't know how long you've been around. I don't know if you know who Geraldo Rivera is. You know what? I found out that a lot of people don't have any idea, especially younger people, who the hell Geraldo Rivera is. He used to be on ABC on 2020. He used to be one of those reporters on 2020. He fashioned himself as an investigative journalist. He wasn't very good at it as far as I was concerned. And his big show was what's in Al Capone's vault. They apparently had found the vault of Al Capone, and he somehow convinced ABC to do this big 2-hour special on Capone. By the way, it was the IRS, not the FBI, that brought down Al Capone. Let that sink in. So it was this big show, and they'd gotten, the guys in there, and they faked opening the vault, and they get in there, and they find there's nothing in there. It was a Coke bottle. There was nothing in there. Zero. But you know what they had done for 2 hours? They had gotten an audience. They had fed them advertising. They had sold advertising for outrageous rates for this big nothing. And at that point, if you know anything about Geraldo Rivera, you should have been done. You should have been done. So why he's on Fox News right now as the other side, I don't have any idea. It's like The View having, I don't know, Elizabeth Hasselbeck. Clueless. All right. So here's the deal. He hasn't learned anything about guns by being on Fox News. Zero. I mean, because he hasn't tried. I don't think he's tried to. I think that the idea is he knows he's supposed to come in as the other side, no matter how ridiculous. And he's willing to be the clown. He is willing to be the clown to get the check. He was on the Five with Greg Gutfeld and the rest. He was attacking people who owned AR-15s, claiming it was about acting macho, right? Because if you've seen pictures of Geraldo Rivera shirtless, acting macho, right? The 70s thing. Don't worry about it. It's the 70s thing. When Gutfeld says it's just a rifle, just a rifle. Gutfeld didn't say that, but it shoots a 22. It's a shoots a 22 bullet. I mean, it shoots a 22 bullet. So Rivera says it's not a rifle. It's a machine gun. So Gutfeld asked him, probably smiling, so what does AR stand for? Automatic rifle. No, Gutfeld says no, that's not what it is. All I know is that AR-15s have no place in American society other than sports club. So, okay, it doesn't stand for automatic rifle. So you're wrong. So a reporter, an investigative reporter says, okay, I'm wrong. What does it stand for? No, I don't care what it stands for. All I know, all you know is dick. All you know is nothing. All you know is zero, zilch, nada. All you know is that every 2 weeks the check doesn't bounce, and you get to spew stupid stuff. It stands for, say it with me, Armalite rifle. What's Armalite? Armalite is the brand. That's what it stands for. It doesn't stand for automatic rifle. It doesn't stand for any of that stuff. It isn't a machine gun. It's a regular semi-automatic rifle that fires one bullet per trigger pull. Pow, pow, pew, 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 pew. That's it. But Geraldo is showing the incredible ignorance, and I don't believe. And this article is from Red State, but I don't think he's showing the ignorance. I think he is bolstering the ignorance. He knows there's ignorance there, but it needs to be justified and bolstered. Okay, I think that he is doing that as a talking point. AR-15s are evil and machine guns. That they are rat-a-tat-tat. They are rat-a-tat, rat-a-tat, rat-a-tat when they're really pew, 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 pew. You would think that in 2023, they would have, found out, and so they wouldn't look like idiots. But it isn't. It isn't what they're about. They're about pushing an agenda, even if they have to look like idiots.
Well, hey everybody, my name is Willie Lawson, and you guys know that I do a lot of stuff on the internet. And you may think with what's happening on Twitter and what's happening on Facebook and what happened to Parler that the mainstream social media sources are really trying to rid themselves of conservative voices. And you'd be right. They most certainly are. But you know what? It isn't as bad as you think it is. It's worse. But there are people who are willing to be platformed for free speech. One of those places is Freedom Forum website, freedomforum.website. You can go there and speak your mind. So come join us. Enjoy the freedom, enjoy the fun. If you are a true blue conservative, small businesses are near and dear to your heart. They are the lifeblood of our life and economy. I believe this, and that's why my florist is not a website or phone number. My florist is Blooming Days Flower Shop, Tampa's premier flower shop. At 11618 North Florida Avenue here in Tampa, Florida, and at 6835 State Road 54 in Newport Richey. Call Christine at 813-933-1942 and at 727-232-6900. She can also be reached on the web at www.bloomingdays.com. One of the things that I get asked most is where can I get information that is not tainted with liberal bias, especially here in the Tampa Bay area. Well, now I have the answer. tbctampa.com, a website by and for Tampa area conservatives. Tampa's leading conservative voices speak freely at tbctampa.com, and you can too. So join the fun and enjoy the freedom at tbctampa.com. My name is Willie Lawson, and this is the Morning Report.
Well, hey, welcome back to the Morning Report. My name is Willie Lawson. You thought that COVID was over. You know, the President Biden said, and that's over. That's done. Is it? Because on April 18, 2022, U.S. District Judge Catherine Kimball Meisel struck down President Joe Biden's mask mandate for all air and rail transportation. The Department of Justice quickly appealed the decision after a request from the Center for Disease Control. To protect the CDC's public health authority beyond the ongoing assessment announced last week, the CDC has asked the DOJ to proceed with an appeal in the Health Freedom Defense Fund, Incorporated, et al., versus Joe Biden. It is the CDC's continuing assessment that at this time, an ordering requiring masking in indoor transportation corridors remains necessary for the public health. The CDC will continue to monitor public health conditions to determine whether an order remains necessary. This is the CDC continuing to try to be out of their auspices. Once people gain power, once these organizations gain power, what they don't want to do is they never want to relinquish it. That was part of the danger in everybody following whatever the CDC guidelines were. The CDC guidelines didn't change from being guidelines to being laws. Did you notice that? The CDC believes this is a lawful order, not a guideline, not a suggestion, but a lawful order, well within the CDC's legal authority to protect public health. The CDC released in a statement. At this time, the White House admitted the appeal was to preserve the power of a federal government. And there's a clip on the town hall website of Jen Psaki who at the time was the press secretary for the president, saying this: our focus here was seeing what power we had to preserve. This was about power. Now, a lot of us said this early on. We said that all of these mandates were about power. They were testing to see how much power they could exert. It was not about health. Because if it was about health, they would have been very early, and we talked about this a long time ago. They would have been very early telling people who were healthy how to stay healthy, what to avoid, foods to eat, exercise to get, how to stay healthy, how to improve. There would have been this big, huge campaign on how to boost your immune system, because that's how we're going to beat it. We're going to boost our immune system. We're going to make ourselves the biggest, strongest Americans possible. We're going to make the American public the healthiest public in the world, and that's how we're going to beat COVID. But you can't really gain power using that term, that strategy. So you have to lock people up. You have to shut down their businesses. You have to put people in jail. You have to make it illegal for them to be on the streets without a mask. You have to do that. You have to do everything else except make them healthier. And then your other thing is you actually end up making them weaker, right? When there was and there's also a clip here on Twitter. Alaska Air had a flight that was in the air at the time when the mask mandate was lifted, and the pilot came on and said, ladies and gentlemen, this is your pilot speaking. This is the most important announcement I've ever made. The federal mask mandate is over. Take off your mask if you choose." And people cheered the plane. People were done with it. So nearly a year later, the federal attorneys are still working to force people to put the mask back on airplanes and trains. So what happens then is, if they are successful, and I do not believe they will be, if they are successful, then that trickles down to planes and or trains anyway, or transit systems, in major cities. Some of the leftist states will go ahead and make those mandates, suggestions on for all their public transportation. And then we're back where we were, a year ago, or a year and a half ago. We are worried about 2024. Who's running in 2024? Blah, 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 blah. We need to be worried about and focused on, not worried about, but focused on what's going on right now, how governing is going on right this very minute, and not get distracted by some classified papers found in Joe Biden's garage next to his green Corvette. Is green an ugly color for a Corvette? To be locked up for that right there, for driving a green Corvette. That makes something as nice as a Corvette but ugly. That should be a crime. That shouldn't be our center focus, because apparently a lot of these people leave office and take classified material or copies of classified materials with them. Apparently they all do. Apparently it's a thing. So generally speaking, we need to worry about that over here. But the thing that's most important in front of us now is what's happening now. What governing is taking in place now, because like it or not, right this very minute, Joe Biden is still president. Because they're still lying about COVID. They're still lying about COVID. A few tweets feature the supposed science on COVID stopped. This is from Jeff Chu. No, not Jeff Chu. I'm sorry. I think this is Matt, right? This is Guy Benson. Stopped me in my tracks this week, he says. As it appears, some people are trying to revive the dangerous and debunked lie that schools were the major vector for COVID illness. First of all, they couldn't have been, because they were closed. They were not, because children school-age children were not getting COVID. They were not getting it, and they were not taking it home to grandma. That wasn't happening. Wasn't happening. It's false information about COVID, not to be conflated with disputable or accurate claims reflective, mislabeled as misinformation. It is roundly decried and often censored when it comes to one's perspective. False information about COVID from the restrictionist worldview is too often celebrated and in supposedly reputable circles. It's early 2023, and some people are evidently still intent on, quote, proving that open and operating schools were a major culprit in the pandemic. Not at all. It just didn't happen. It just didn't happen. Anthony LaMesa tweets, school was the biggest public source of COVID-19 transmission. Daycare wasn't associated with COVID-19 infection. Neither was going to a healthcare facility or grocery store, just in-person school. Grocery stores were open. Daycares were open. Schools were not. If you are, let me see, if you are in seventh grade, if you have a seventh grader, how much school did they go to in 2020 and 2021? Oh, unless you're in Florida, unless you're here with me. How much school did they go to? How much school did they actually go to? In-person school. So it's not even possible that it was a big source of COVID-19 transmission because they weren't open. Because most people just fell into, oh my God, we got to close the schools, we got to shut down, right? Even though that age group wasn't getting COVID, and the ones that got COVID got it from home, or maybe the grocery store, or maybe the amusement park. Well, if you're in Florida, you get it. So now some people are pushing that agenda, which pushing that narrative, which is obviously apparently false. In reality, multiple studies from multiple countries drawing on vast footprint of evidence made clear by the fall of 2020 that the opposite was actually true. Those studies continued to pile up in 21 and 22 as well. The real science was clear, but the fear-mongering school shutters never accepted it, to the profound detriment of the affected children. So how do these false claims, like one highlighted we just did, get above the get published this fast? Through sloppiness and drawing casual conclusions, not supported by actual evidence. This was the NIH study done during the second half of 2020. So we suspect there's a lot of confounding going on here based on the places where school was in person and the places where it wasn't, and who chose in-person school and who didn't, writes one expert, who has done yeoman's work in tackling junk COVID science over recent years. This is her very plausible theory on how the bogus premise was declared, quote, proven. This is Kelly Kajay, I guess. This actually seems this actually seems like it's mostly just a correlation based on the fact that they were the highest in the late fall when more kids were in school, and low when the schools were mostly closed, whereas exposure via other sources were more consistent over time. Yes. So maybe there was more exposure when they were actually open, but they were not a major, not at all a major transmission vector at all. And this is from our friend Mary Catherine Ham. She tweets, these infantile adults who cannot do risk assessment, experts, We'll do it again if you don't demand otherwise. The AMA tweeted this. Looking back, closing schools was probably an effective way of cutting SARS. The experts will do it for you. The experts who are vaccine pushers, because the vaccines make money for all these people, will tell you. Because if you're a grown-up, you can't figure it out yourself, because we can't somehow figure this stuff out for ourselves. They're still lying about COVID, folks, and they're going to continue to lie about COVID. In the description box, there is a link there to a part of a town hall expose about some suburban LGBTQ pedophile ring stuff they have found. I won't talk about it here, but please look down in the description box and check it out for yourself. It's pretty startling. It's very startling. We'll be back right after this. So is it okay now, because it was, I mean, during the Trump administration, it is okay to talk about the president's
yeah, we talked about mental health elderly, so let's talk about this guy mental health.
The president's mental acuity, because there's sometimes where it seems to be lacking. Have you seen?
Sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes it's especially bad. I mean, I'm talking about sometimes it's like really bad. Like, have you seen the picture?
I was told not to take any questions.
I was told not to take any questions. They told they're going to be mad at me.
They're going to be mad at me.
Mr.
President, are you the president, or are you five?
You see, what I want. See, the next question is, excuse me,
I was told to call on what you call for NBC. Who's telling you to call on?
That's the question that we ought to be asking. Who's telling you this?
I mean, I don't understand why nobody won't ask that question.
Is Jen Psaki actually the president?
Who's telling you to call on these people in the media?
Is Jen Psaki actually the president?
Probably so.
Well, hi. Welcome back. My name is Willie Lawson. This is the Moron Report. Moron Report is a production of fightbackmedia.com, 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 and fightbackmediatv.com. We appreciate you being here this glorious morning. It's beautiful. It is so nice out there. I cannot tell you. I can't wait. I'm having more trouble with my left ankle. It's starting to want to misbehave. Swollen. I think it's inflamed. And I'm gonna go ahead and call the doctor and see if I can get some prednisone. I know I said I wouldn't do that, and I didn't do that last time. I promise you, I did not do that last time. Prednisone, one of the side effects of prednisone is tertiary diabetes. What that means is that it cranks up your blood sugar level. But if you take it every now and again, probably not a bad idea. Probably not as bad a thing as the phrase tertiary diabetes. Right, diabetes. Nobody wants diabetes, that's for sure, but I know I don't, tertiary or otherwise. But I think that I can get, I'll be all right if I take it every once a year. I think that a lot of these studies are people who are on it all the time, and there are people who are on prednisone all the time for pain and inflammation. So I am not. Maybe twice a year. I think I'll be okay. So I'm gonna give them a call when I'm done here and see if we can get this done. All righty. Anyway, when the Republicans took over the House, I know, segues. When the Republicans took over the House, there were a lot of people calling for, we should investigate them, and we should investigate, and we should do what they do to us, and tit for tat. And I think we'll waste some time doing that. What we should be doing is finding ways to make sure that people's personal freedoms are maintained. Moving forward in that, making sure that people's First and Second Amendments rights are protected. Make sure that that the Constitution is entirely in place. Make sure one of the House rules should be that before a bill can be presented, it must, in its text, in its opening text, refer to the part of the Constitution that allows for it. It should, in the text of the bill, refer to the Constitution, part of the Constitution that says it's okay for that bill to become law. This is what allows it. This part of the Constitution allows for this bill to become law. That would slow some stuff down. That one rule right there. That's what they should be doing. They're not. Representative Jim Jordan, Republican from Ohio, who now serves as the chair of the House Judiciary Committee, has wasted no time making clear he intends to hold the Biden administration accountable. Last Friday, he launched an investigation into President Joe Biden's handling of classified documents. On Wednesday, he has sent out 7 letters to various members of the administration regarding their previous habits of ignoring requests and communications and documents. These letters renew those requests. One of the letters sent out on yesterday was to the White House Chief of Staff, Ron Klain, who was contacted on November 18th, 2022, for follow-up with regards to a letter from October 17th and from June 14th. The letters came from Jordan when he was the ranking member, as well as other Republican members. The November 18th letter detailed how the members, quote, have made several requests for information and documents concerning the Biden administration's misuse of federal, criminal, and counterterrorism resources to target concerned parents at a school board meetings. Remember they were talking about that these people were domestic terrorists? With the subsequent letters repeating the request for such information. Klain's letter is particularly significant in that it references noteworthy behavior from the White House late last year. On December 29th, 2022, which is Sabir, special counsel to the president, submitted a letter to Jordan declining to comply with requests. No. Even more telling is that the letter was leaked to Politico beforehand. As Jordan's letter to Klain reads in reference with original emphasis. It reads, "To date, you have not complied with our long-standing request for information and documents. Instead, the Biden White House provided a perfunctory letter that discounted Congress's constitutional oversight authorities, failed to produce any documents or information requested, and declined to address any matters of substance." The White House leaked this letter to the media and briefed at least one reporter on it before transmitting the letter to the committee at 4:34 a.m., severely undercutting the White House's purported commitment to working with us in good faith. The White House has sought to excuse its noncompliance with our request by asserting that the requests were not made as part of the congressional oversight process to which the constitutional accommodation obligations apply. Setting aside the constitutional legal fallacies inherent in the White House's arguments, nothing in federal law prevents the White House from voluntarily complying with our requests. In addition, to the extent that the White House believed it was bound only to comply with requests from the committee chair, the White House has had notice since at least November 16th, 2022, that a returning Republican member would lead the Judiciary Committee on the 118th Congress and has taken no steps to comply with our outstanding request, in that time. In fact, as of today, we have seen no evidence that the White House has taken any steps to comply with our request. In Clayton's letter, Jordan made it clear that they are prepared to resort to compulsory process if necessary to obtain the material, which means they're ready to go to court. All this to say this: it should not be surprising to any of us that the Biden White House at this point is simply going to circle the wagons on this stuff. So I don't believe that this can be I don't think this can be the main focus. We're gonna get those bastards. I don't think it can be the main focus of what we're dealing with. The main focus of what we're dealing with, if we have control of the House, is stopping the ridiculous, outrageous spending for sure. No more omnibus bills. If you got to shut the government down for a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, a month, a year, to make sure that you can get spending under control, which will in turn get inflation under control, then let's go ahead and do that. But this incessant investigating this, investigating that, investigating this, investigating that, and stonewalling and stonewalling. Sheesh. Let's get on to good governance. When you're out of office, you can look back and go, we got that done. That is a pillar that is going to stay in place forever. That's what we ought to be doing. Don't you think? All right, we got to get out of here and make room for somebody else. All right, folks. Again, just like always, go out there and learn something, love somebody, and for goodness sakes, take care of yourself. We will see you when we see you. Bye-bye now.